Okay, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Breath podcast live stream. Just getting a few things set up here. All right. This morning, before we practice, we're going to talk real quick about tools and some of the tools that I'm going to be using, some of the tools that you could be using along this journey. Tools are important, but they're not everything. They're not a solution. And they're not a shortcut. They're a leverage point. They create leverage. Tools can amplify our intentions, but they can't replace it. For instance, a journal can not make you reflect, and a device that might measure heart rate variability can't make you regulated. Just like a watch doesn't make you disciplined. You do that. Tools simply provide feedback and structure. They're nothing but information. Transformation requires visibility. You have to be able to see what it is that you are trying to transform, or at the very least, you have to be able to see what it is you need to investigate in order to transform. Tools create mirrors for that. They can track patterns and slow down our thinking. They can help us get our breath into a coherent pattern. They make the invisible visible, and they interrupt that autopilot that we so easily can find ourselves within. But it's important to understand that just because we can measure something doesn't mean that we're a master of it. Data is not the discipline. It's just insight so that we can learn to integrate. So let's start with journaling. Some folks may have journaled all their lives. Some folks maybe have never picked up a journal. And there's a lot of really great memes about journaling, and they're accurate. Journaling can look pretty self-important in public. And, going to a coffee shop and getting a cup of coffee and spending some time in reflection, there's nothing wrong with that. Going to a coffee shop and pulling out your journal so that you look like you're a person who spends time in reflection, there's something wrong with that. I started journaling when I was probably about 17 years old. I don't really know why. I think I had some friends that maybe tried it. But I also always enjoyed writing, and but you don't have to enjoy writing to learn to journal. Journaling just allows you in order to have a place to ask questions, and so I want you to consider purchasing a journal, and you can use a variety of different things. You can use a simple. So journaling for me has evolved into quite a thing. This journal here is this little black journal is my work journal. So when I get on a phone call with a client or a vendor, I use this journal specifically, and I can always go back to it and find the information that I need that we discussed. This journal right here, this simple little paper journal, this journal is my school journal. I'm in a PhD program, and every semester I create a new journal. And every time I sit in on a lecture, or I have a one-on-one with instructor, or I am reading and need to take notes, I use this journal. It keeps everything in one place. This journal is a journal my wife got me years ago. Actually, I think it's the third one that she got me. It's a leather-bound journal. It's made out in the San Juan Islands by a maker, by a craftsperson. It's got handmade paper. This journal I use in order to self-reflect. And I don't always go into it. In fact, there will be long periods of time in between my journal entries. One last journal. I use the notes feature in my mobile phone in order to copy and paste things I might see on the internet, have a quick way in order to make a note, or do a talk to text in those notes so that I can journal and self-reflect while I drive. But here's the key. Here's the key to journaling. Journaling really doesn't work if you're going to get in there and say, journal, dear journal, today this happened to me and I didn't like it and it made me feel terrible. And those people are jerks. That's not going to do anything for you. The way that you journal is it's not venting, it's structured reflection. So you need to lean into inquiry, and it's about building accountability with yourself on paper. It's about getting the reactionary loops in our head, right? The stories we tell ourselves out into a feedback loop where we can reflect. So it's more like, this happened to me. Why did I allow that to happen? How come I felt this way about it? You want to ask yourself questions, and you don't need to have answers in the exact moment. The next is biofeedback devices. So I use a device for breath work called a inner balance device. It's made by HeartMath. It's an app on my phone that hooks up with a little device inside this pouch that connects to my ear and measures my heartbeat. And the inner balance device allows me to record my heart rate variability, which I'll go into more detail tomorrow when we go over heart, and to see if I can cultivate coherence between the intelligence, the neurons in my heart and the neurons in my brain, and sync those things up. They're powerful tools that you get a lot of data from them. They're expensive. They're about $300. And for me, they're worth it. But the device doesn't create coherence. Your breath and your attention create coherence. The device simply confirms it. Technology can't train your awareness, but you choose to train that simply by being here. And then the final tool I'll talk about today is wearables and breath wheels, which we're going to use a breath wheel today. So you have tracking data in your smartwatch or whatever wearable you wear. If you do wear one, your phone simply being in your pocket will track a number of things. The health app inside your phone will often track heart rate variability if you're wearing a watch. That's great. This data is available to you. You can use it. It can be a great reminder to come back to practice. It can also just be ignored, but you can go the other way as well, right? You can allow data to inform your sense of being. You can allow information and metrics to define who you are. And that's too far on the other end. Data is there to inform you. It's not there to govern you. The real tools are three things in this. The most powerful tool you have is your attention, and bringing it not just to what you are looking at out here, but also being able to turn it inwards and look at yourself. The second is breath. Breath is an incredibly powerful tool that is dramatically taken for granted because it's part of the sympathetic nervous system. It is automatic. It's just something your body does. But the moment you bring awareness to your breath, you are now in the driver's seat. And the third is consistency. Show up every day for whatever you're going to do, whether it's this live stream, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's spending time in journaling. It doesn't matter. Be consistent. Tools support those efforts. So remember, tools are leverage points. They're not transformation itself. We're going to use tools over the next couple of weeks. Like I said, we're going to start with the breath wheel today, and we're going to track patterns, and we're going to create ritual with these things. You can see tools in ritual. Those devices that might look archaic and old in ritual are tools. They're tools for creating connection with something beyond yourself. We're creating connection in this effort with ourselves. So the goal here is to cultivate your agency, your adaptability, and your coherence under pressure. And the only way to do that is practice. All right, let's go ahead and breathe. So this is a breath wheel, and all you're going to do is just simply time your breath with it. It's timed to about 6 seconds, which is a ideal breath. We're going to do this for about 5 minutes. Once again, I'm placing my hand over my heart so that I'm targeting the area in which I am working to connect with. With my brain, this isn't meditation, so I am going through a gratitude list. I'm starting small and I'm working to big. And I'm going to come back to that gratitude as I go along. So here we go. Let's breathe together. Of course, come to your gratitude with your breath. Stay with your gratitude. All right, with the next breath, with a sigh, and we are going to come back into this space. Okay, thank you for joining me this morning on the Morning Breath Livestream. Tomorrow morning, we'll be talking about heart. See you tomorrow.